Do you have a keen interest in physical science? Would you enjoy working in a laboratory and in the field? Are you analytical with excellent problem-solving skills? Do you have an eye for detail? If you have said yes to these questions, the occupation of fire investigator might be the one for you. A fire investigator conducts investigations to determine the cause of fires and explosions. They are employed either in the public sector by the police, or by insurance companies, private investigation firms and other such organizations. Although the actual tasks undertaken by fire investigators will depend on their employer, the primary task is to examine the scene of a fire for evidence of arson. Arson is when a fire has been intentionally started. Fire investigators establish the fire's path in order to trace the point of origin. They may have to sift through vast piles of debris to do this. Once they establish where the fire started, they collect samples for further processing in the lab. Fire investigators also gather information by conducting interviews with witnesses and firefighters. Since they arrive after the fire has been put out, these interviews can give insight as to how the fire behaved and whether anyone noticed anything unusual. They record the interviews, make notes, draw sketches and take photos of the evidence. Once they have all the evidence, work begins in the lab to reconstruct the event that caused the fire. The investigator carries out a physical and chemical analysis of samples taken. They look for residues of accelerants or explosives that could have caused the fire. They perform carefully planned, controlled experiments to try to recreate how the fire started, especially when they need to test different theories. The fire investigator makes detailed notes during each step of the process. These records are used to write a full report about the fire. If arson is suspected, the evidence is likely to be used in court, and the fire investigator may be required to testify. It is therefore vital that they keep detailed notes on their investigations and file formal reports. Some fire investigators work in a research environment. They work in laboratories and conduct experiments to study how fires start and spread. They research the different chemical signatures of accelerants and the type of trace evidence they leave. Due to the nature of their work, fire investigators are exposed to unpleasant or disturbing situations and information. Both when gathering evidence at the scene as well as in the lab, they wear protective clothing to protect themselves as well as to prevent any contamination of samples. There is no set career path for becoming a fire investigator. A tertiary qualification in a related field such as fire technology, forensic science, chemistry or engineering is advantageous. Further on-the-job training is required, and newly appointed fire investigators work under supervision while learning the procedures and protocols for fire scene investigations. Throughout their careers, fire investigators need to keep up to date with advances in their field by doing short courses and attending workshops. Advancement will depend on the employer, as well as experience gained and further specialist qualifications.